All right, all right. Hello, everyone.
Yes.
This is Gia, my wonderful friend, all the way from, oh my God, where? London? I don't know.
UK.
UK. UK. Okay. That was a very bad joke and very poor taste. But and hi, I'm Madhurima Sappatti coming all the way from India. And today we're gonna talk about breathwork and how it can help you in relieving stress. Now I know, Jia, this is something that I tend to do in my free time is I go on Quora a lot. And there are a lot of people who have a lot of questions about stress and anxiety and all of this stuff. And oftentimes I found myself talking, like because I am a coach who helps people with burnout, my
Mm-hmm.
main priority is to help them manage their stress so they don't burn out. Like, all right, if you are burnt out, I can help you through that. I have an entire process laid out that you can walk through so that you can navigate, overcome, and prevent it. But my very first priority is to make sure that you can manage your stress so that you don't end up burning out in the very first place. And when I answer these questions, a lot of times, I find myself writing, what breath work is really important. Like, just start some practice, some kind of a breath work technique that you can inculcate in your life. Because from my experience and from the things that I've studied, breath is really, really crucial. I mean, obviously, it makes sense. It is what supplies oxygen for us to live. But, obviously, there is that how you control your breath or breathing patterns can actually help you regulate yourself. Now, because this is your
Yes.
area or one of your areas of expertise, I want you to talk about your experience with breathwork and what exactly is breathwork. Let's start from that. Like, what is breathwork in the first place?
If anyone is interested to read more about it, there's this book called Breath by James Nestor. And he really talks about breath being a key fundamental path with the yogic system.
Mhm.
There's this system where there is asanas doing yoga in itself in part of the body, and then there's after that the breath work comes into play, and then after that there's the meditation. So really breath work for me is something that connects us to our body and our mind all together, so it helps us have that coherent
Mhm.
ability to align our mind and our heart's frequency. But most importantly, as you said, breathing is life. It's something that we do every day. And it's something that we forget to consciously connect with, when
Mhm.
in fact it's the easiest way that we can then change, as you said, our nervous system.
Mhm.
Change if we feel our stress levels are coming up and our anxiety coming up. It's one of the easiest way, and it's free. You don't need
Yeah,
to do anything. Exactly.
it is so free. I mean, just like the oxygen all around us. But yeah, I feel like I really resonate with that, especially the yoga part, because as kids, we live in India, we had, times where we used to do yoga together. We have a national yoga day and all of that stuff. Um, but then, as kids, we used to just practice it. But as adults, I'm realizing that with every switch in position, you need to change how you're breathing, right? Like, are you exhaling with this position or are you inhaling with this
Yes.
position? And I will let you know it's very chaotic the first time you start trying it out, because you're just
Hmm.
like, I don't know. Am I supposed to inhale
Yes.
or exhale? This is so stressful. Like, oh my God. So
Exactly.
I know how breathing and being conscious about your breathing is really important, but what would you like to suggest to someone who's trying this out for the very first time and is probably overwhelmed by the entire process of, oh my God, am I doing this right? Am I breathing
Mm.
right? Yeah.
First of all, thank you for that. And it's really a wonderful reflection on how we normally think about it this way. It's breathing, or the act of breathing, respiration for the medical term, is one, and I'm not sure if there's any other muscles or parts of our body that is both autonomic and also voluntary.
Mm.
So when in that sense, we can think about it and then start regulating our breathing. And we can also just leave it, but we'll continue breathing. It's not gonna
Yeah.
change. We're not-
Mhm.
Unless of course there's respiratory problems
Mhm.
or things like that. But it's both unconsciously done and also consciously done. So in that aspect, in a spiritual side of things, there's magic with that because it connects us to the unconscious and our conscious side. Having said that, putting that aside, for the scientific part way of focusing right now, is the main key thing for a person to start with this is, first of all, for me, is to observe what and how your breathing
Mhm.
are, the quality of breath that you do, meaning are you breathing deep into the belly? Because normally we tend to, when we're anxious, we are actually breathing shallow and we forget that we can actually breathe deep into the belly. And that breathing into the belly doesn't mean that the air goes into the belly. It actually means that we're just using the diaphragm to its fullest capacity, which is the main muscle for respiration. But what happens throughout our cultural and evolutionary aspect because of the stress, especially in cities as well, when you go out, notice how the people are breathing throughout like the places that we go to.
Mhm.
Normally, it's up in the chest.
Mhm.
And if you notice this part and like on the rib cage as well, these are intercostal muscles. And
Mm.
then some people even breathe with their shoulders
Yeah.
and neck. So that's accessory muscles.
Mm.
So noticing the difference between using the main muscle, which is the diaphragm, or are you using the accessory muscles, which is the intercostal muscles and the shoulder and the neck? So with this two key distinction, now you'll know, okay, am I actually breathing deep or am I using my accessory muscles, which shouldn't be the actual first thing that we use. So
Mm.
it has to be deep into the diaphragm and then we use the other muscles if needed to be. Like, for example, if someone really needs a lot of air, running, etc., of course, we'll activate the other muscles. But on a daily basis, if you notice that, wait, I'm just breathing in and out in here. And if someone asks me, a doctor or a nurse asks me, okay, breathing deep, when they put the stethoscopes
Mm.
at the back, notice how you also breathe deep. Are you actually breathing deep into the lungs, but actually forgetting the diaphragm is below or right about your rib cage, like at
Mm.
the bottom?
Yeah.
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 So
No.
basic anatomy. So that first, that's the first thing. Like note the quality of your breath and like what muscles you're using.
Yeah.
And that in itself, if you notice that you're breathing shallow, consciously shift it more and more to the deep belly breathing.
Mhm.
So with that, a quick easy way to do that is in the morning, you can breathe in deep into the belly for as long as you can and out for as long as you can. For this moment, let's not focus on counting because sometimes people get stressed with the counts as
Mhm.
well because, oh, I'm not breathing in for the count of five. I cannot do it. So let's put that aside. Very easy for 5 minutes. Just make sure that you breathe low, slow, and deep. Low, slow, and deep, meaning low in the belly, as slow as you can and as deep as you can, expanding the whole belly. And for those people who are into gym or working out, I'm pretty sure this would feel the opposite because now you're not holding your abdomen, you're not contracting that
Mhm.
side. Like let it loose, let it become big
Mhm.
and expand and
Yeah.
then in. So it's like in and then out. So that's the first thing that I would note. Very simple.
Yeah. No, I love that a lot. And a few things that I would like to kind of piggyback off of that, what you mentioned, Gia, is the first thing you said was breathing is both conscious and unconscious. And while I was aware of it, something instantly clicked for me. Now, I am a coach. I'm also a nerd who loves to look into all these different techniques just for the fun of it, because it's fun.
Mm,
Um, I have seen a lot of people who are practicing breath work, with their eyes closed, lying down, which is usually how people practice breath work, is either by sitting or by lying down in the most comfortable position.
Yes.
And they start having breakdowns. And I was like, okay, you know what, I understand this, I understand the concept of it, like this is happening for this. But when you said that breathing is both unconscious and spiritually, it allows us to tap into the unconscious part of us, the place where we have probably buried a lot of memories, both that we loved and both that, that the ones that we didn't like or hated as kids as we were growing up. I feel like that click, that is what allows us to actually let go of those emotions and let it out, rather than it being all locked up and holding our entire body down. I feel like
Mm,
that was so good. Like that was just like, is this what it is this
exactly.
reality, is this the
Who
truth?
knows? Like, there's only, again, like for the past few years and decades, we have been learning more and more about science and its connection to so much about yoga and meditation. And
Mm,
now breathwork is becoming something on the mainstream as well, as popularized by so many people.
mm,
But the main thing here is that, as you've said, unconsciously we're tapping into our past. Putting that aside, like, if we don't dig into that rabbit hole, because that's
mm,
gonna be a lot, isn't it? If we don't look at that, if we just look at our present moment
mm,
and notice that when we are in a state of fight or flight, for
mm.
example,
Yeah.
someone shouted in the corner, and your body felt that it got reminded of a certain past. Maybe a
Mm,
boss was mean to you, or you were actually in a state wherein you're already very stressed, and then someone made a comment at you that you didn't like. So all of these things, we our body remembers that.
mm,
And then suddenly in that moment, your body felt that.
mm.
Notice how the breathing in itself is one of the first thing that changes. It
Exactly.
just, isn't it? It's like it connects you to your unconscious.
Mm,
If you are not yet aware of it, because unconscious and unconscious is just being aware of it and not.
mm.
And if we are thinking about it in that way, we notice, we stop. If we observe more, we change our breathing
Yeah.
even before we can consciously think, wait a minute, I am stressed at this moment, I feel fear in this moment, or I
Mm.
feel overwhelmed and angry at the world because I'm really in this
Yeah.
state of stress and anxiety. Like, the first thing, one of the things is that the breathing already changes and then we notice it. It's
Mm.
not like we notice it and then it change, or like we think
Right.
of bad things and then it change. It can happen, but sometimes the body already supersedes everything, because the body can be so tired, so anxious already, so overwhelmed with every stimuli
Mm-hmm.
and stressor.
Mm-hmm.
And so when that trigger comes, freeze or shallow breathing.
Mm.
What's
Yeah.
happening here?
Yeah.
Or literally just, I don't know what to do. I don't know
Yeah.
what to
Holding
do.
that breath and being like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Or I just want to go out here. I just want to
Mm.
sleep. I just
Yeah.
want to sleep and forget about all of this. So in that aspect, it is a great tool to observe.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, not tool, but it's a great indication
Mm. Yeah.
when and where is our body at.
Mm.
And then at that moment, then we can come back
Mm-hmm.
and breathe, and then we can regulate our system.
Yeah.
Because it's never, for me, because I've as we talk about stress and overwhelm and burnout,
Mm.
from my perspective, there has been a good few years, because I also work as a nurse, and a lot of you know that it's going to be very stressful, and it's always be. there was a lot of times that I would work overtime, and it's just constant working. And it's not even that. Sometimes the whole day passes and then an emergency comes
Mm,
because we never know what happens. I work in the operating room, by the way. So a bleeding aorta comes in, and then we just have to figure out a way and move on, and there's no other people to relieve. So in that aspect, I realized that it was also taking a toll on my body because I didn't have anything in place to prevent that.
mm,
I don't know what breath work is, for
mm,
example. I don't even know that.
mm,
No clue at all. I probably have been meditating by using apps
mm,
as much as I can. It's not, but I wasn't aware of where my body at
mm,
until the point that I was shutting down and I had to sleep for a very, very long time. And I was so confused why my body is in that state of
mm,
just total collapse.
mm,
But when we then help ourselves into consciously becoming aware of our breath,
mm,
it's our first step to become more aware of our state of the body. And when we become more aware of our body, then there's more chances of preventing those
mm.
occurrences
Yeah.
because now we are connecting to our body and it's not just in our heads thinking and being overwhelmed with so many things happening.
Yeah. No, yeah, I love that a lot. Yeah. And that is something actually that I let people know ahead of time. Like, because I work with stress, I'm always like, hey, always notice how you breathe in a moment, right? Like, if you are not understanding what's happening, notice how you're breathing. Are you like you said, that's a
Yes.
fight or flight response. Our body needs that immediate and quick supply of oxygen for us to either fight someone or run away or just freeze up, so that we actually just freeze and not like play dead almost. And it's a great tool to actually understand that, oh, this is which is exactly what you said. This is a great sign to understand whether you're stressed out or not. And so touching upon what you were saying earlier, about how you would oftentimes fall into exhaustion. For anyone who's experiencing this, we need to understand that when we are under stress, what happens is our body is sending a lot of oxygen all around us, all around the system. Like, there's a lot of oxygen inflow, there's a lot of tense muscles, there's a lot of contractions, there's a lot of like this, like stiff movements almost. And when we while this is really good for short bursts of time, it's not great for longer periods of time. So if we are in a scenario where we are constantly in that motion, the moment our brain recognizes that we are out of stress, and this can happen long after we are actually out of stress. So, like, even if you came out of the operating room after at 7 o'clock, your brain will realize that, oh, I am no longer in that period of stress. Like, I am home, I'm here, I can safely relax now. And that can be like 2 hours later, that your brain recognizes that, oh, I don't need to be in stress any longer, even though you're out of that position of stress from a longer period of time. So your body was constantly tensed up for like 4 5 hours or more, which is why when your brain recognizes that I can relax now, it just collapses. Like, it releases all of that, which makes us feel numb and tired, and almost like, that entire feeling of heaviness kind of falls over us, and we are just like, okay, you know what, I don't know what's happening, I'm just gonna sleep, I'm just gonna crash right now, which is usually what happens. And
Mm.
it's a great thing to like notice how often you're allowing your body to relax. And I know this is a conversation on breath work, but just a few tips that I could share for anyone who's experiencing this is, try, you don't even have to jog, you don't have to do heavy workouts. Just in between long periods, if you are aware that, okay, I am going to work in a scenario like this from 9 to 5, let's say, the let's put 9 to 5 to the guillotine almost. What you can do is, in between, when you're taking breaks, all you have to do is just clench and unclench your hands, your fingers, and your toes, because that in and of itself allows your muscles to relax and lets your brain know that, I can relax now. Just for a minute here, I can relax. And it prevents you from that total exhaustion and that, I mean, it's just one of the techniques, but it is a great technique that people can definitely try if they wish to. One thing I wanted to talk as well, Gia, is what you were saying about the breathing pattern, like how
Mhm.
we breathe from all of this. I remember when I first joined a Pilates class, my instructor was like, you need to remember to breathe from here. And so we would actually place our hands here on our ribs and breathe laterally, almost like this and like this, to kind of work on all the exercises that we were doing. And I was like, oh my god, there is so much breath work in here. Without, I don't
Mhm.
know how many people realize it or recognize it or not, but this is in a way a breath work exercise of breathing laterally and breathing, you know vertically. I don't know, normally, let's call it
Mm.
normally, but yeah.
Yes, absolutely. That is a very great example because not everyone would know where the diaphragm is. So,
Mhm.
as you said, just putting their hands on the side by the ribs.
Mhm.
And if that part is, when you breathe deep, if that part is expanding as well as the belly, then it's really a good job doing
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah. And that's really one of the things that we can then build awareness of. Like, how are we breathing in that sense? And one thing that a simple takeaway for the people as well is when there's really three main key things of different types of breath work, and the way that we use them is depending on what we want to create in our body. Do we want an activation? Do we want to be in a state where we are actually fired up
Mhm.
and ready to go? So, in that sense, you can do fire breathing, which is just deep into the belly and 20 breaths for 20 counts. So, it will just be a quick one, like, and do that for 20 and then repeat it for 3 times. So,
Mhm.
that one is just quick one in the morning. But of course, if you want to do it in the evening, then just be mindful that it's going to activate you.
Mm.
For the middle part, for the middle of the day rather, what we can do is something that my mentors called water breathing, wherein we are balancing. If we're feeling like we're in a state of overwhelm, we balance it. Or if we are in a state that we are actually feeling a bit sleepy, then
Mm.
we then activate it. So
Mm.
in this part, it's just breathing in for 5 counts and then breathing out for 5 counts.
Mm.
So it's very simple. In and out in the same amount. If you cannot do five, then do for four. If you cannot do 4 counts, then go for three. The main key factor is you're breathing in and out at the same facing.
Mhm.
And then during the evening, what you can do is what my mentors called whiskey breathing, whiskey category of breathing, meaning it mimics that feeling of sleepiness that we get when we actually drink whiskey. But for the people who actually don't like the term whiskey, you can mm, put it like a regenerative breathing techniques. And
Yeah.
with this one,
It's like
it's the
chamomile tea.
same.
It's like chamomile.
Exactly. Chamomile. There you go.
Yeah.
Tea. And
Mhm.
but sometimes not tea rather, because tea can be
Yeah, yeah,
stimulating
yeah.
as well. Chamomile.
Yeah.
So with that is just breathing in for, if for example you started with 3, then breathe in for 3. If you started with 4 or 5, breathe in for that, and then double it when you breathe out.
Mm.
It's just making it longer. So 3 counts in and then 6 counts out, or 4 counts in and then 8 counts out, or 5 counts in and then 10 counts out. So in that aspect, you are breathing out longer rather.
Mm.
So in that way, you are manipulating and going into parasympathetic nervous system to help the body rest and digest. So those are the 3 main categories that
Mm.
anyone can do at any time.
Oh, I love that. Gia, would you be comfortable with sharing like you doing these exercises at any point of time that after this workshop, and what we
Yeah,
can do is
yes.
create snippets of it and just post it on Instagram for
Mhm.
anyone who wants to come across it. So like coffee, water, and whiskey, right?
Yes,
Awesome.
exactly.
Wonderful. So yeah, I love that. And okay, what are your thoughts? Like how, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you think breath work or just focusing on your breathing and regulating it by just taking deeper breaths, no matter how overwhelming it feels, just being like
Mm.
doing something like that can help you with your stress?
Yes, absolutely. On a scale of 1 to 10, it really depends on the person. So I feel that this in itself is a very quick technique that it's 10 out of 10, because someone can just easily remember that when you're in a state of fight or flight, or you're feeling stress, and you're, or even just by thinking a lot, like
Mm.
that your mind is not shutting down for a
Mm.
while.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
has been, like as you said, it has been 2 to 3 hours since you came from work, but you can think of is work, 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 or there's a stress that is being aggravated in where you came home to, like a
Mm.
scenario at home. Sometimes that happens.
Mm.
So just taking that deep, low, and slow, deep breath,
Mm.
and then doing that for a couple of minutes, that in itself will change everything. And making it sure that you do it as more often as you can,
Mm.
and during the day, during, like, if someone takes away anything from this, is that
Mm.
is to be aware, change your breath, and just do a low, slow, and deep breathing.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah,
Mm.
I love that. And yeah, I think one key takeaway that I would like to leave people with is that your body naturally does this. It's not that your body doesn't do this. The reason why we are asking you to manually do this is because you don't have to wait for your body to respond. Because as we said, like the body can take a while to respond. You can do this automatically and assist your body in relaxing yourself and reminding it that you're safe, you're here, you're present, everything's
Yes.
fine, right? Like you don't have to wait for your body, because oftentimes we must have noticed ourselves like I'm so tired. That in and of itself is a way for your body to relax, at least for a little bit,
Yes.
so your body does this naturally. What we are trying to share here is that your body is primed to deal with stress, but not long term stress. The
Yes,
reason we are
exactly.
asking you to practice breath work is because it will actually help you in regulating and taking a bit more of control in how you're living right now in this completely chaotic world that we're living in. So yeah, before we go, Gia, is there anyone that you can suggest, like anyone you watch online, or someone that people can kind of look up to and practice this breathing? Or if you are doing a 30-day challenge or something like that, please let us know so that we can kind of hop along on that train and have the accountability to actually go out there and start breathing, breathing right.
Yes. So absolutely, anyone who would love the basics,
Mhm.
they can search Lucas Rockwood. So he's my mentor. He's where I was able to learn all of the things that I am able to share right now.
Mhm.
And he has good videos online, especially in YouTube.
Oh,
And
nice.
if I'm not mistaken, his handle as well is Yoga Body Bio. So either Lucas Rockwood or Yoga Body Bio,
Yeah.
both of those are really great for the basic one. I personally am more in line with going deeper into transformational breathwork, where we can
Mhm.
release stress and anxiety, and also any stuck energy, and rewire the nervous system in a way that we then take out, and we then take in rather a new habits and new personalities for ourselves and patterns. So
Mhm.
that's something that I am looking to do more. So if anyone, you can follow me at Let Go with Gia. That's my IG handle. And I'll be starting a community wherein we get to come together once a month and do breath work that is what we call transformational breath work. And in that aspect, that is helping us to really activate our body and then release anything that we need to let go of. So it's deeper than the basic one.
Oh, I love that. I love that a lot. And I will be sharing all these links in the description box of the YouTube channel that this will be posted in. And you guys can also reach out to Gia as blah, 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 as she said on her Instagram. And you can reach out to me at Madhurima_freedom soul coach. I will add the link to all of that in the description. You don't have to type my name and figure out how it's spelled. And yeah, we will see you in the next one. Please let us know down in the comments if you enjoyed this session, and if you'd like both of us to do something a bit deeper, next time, maybe, we never know. Let us know in the comments. Let us know your biggest takeaways. Like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.